This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Joining us today is Rolf Geritsen, the CEO of Metal NRG. How are you doing, Rolf? Welcome back.
Very well, Mark. How are you?
Very good, thank you, Rolf. Thank you for your time today. We're going to cover off a few things. I just want to touch very briefly on the news this morning of the Illegals Day. You've basically given a full update of the state of play, and that's really all you can say at the moment on that. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I prefer not to comment on interviews. I prefer it going out via RNS, which has been the way we've handled these matters right from the beginning, and I prefer sticking to that if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's good to get a general update, though, on where things stand with regards to that. Hopefully not too long before it's all wrapped up. But let's look about moving on then from all of this. Look at some of the plans for 2023. Let's start, generally, let me ask you first of all, what are your ambitions for this year?
Well, first and foremost is to put the legals behind us and move on. But at the same time, while we're still managing the end process of those, it's making sure that the business is moving forward. Mm-hmm. And the real focus here for us is EQTEC. We had our business partnership, business development partnership, which has led to the investment in Italy. Italy is now producing electricity, the plants in Italy, which means that the local company is now producing revenue. That allows us to take the next step, which is about refinancing the plants. And I'll come back to that in a moment because there's great benefit for Metal NRG there. The second portion, the second key project that we're working on, is GoldRidge and progressing those. If you recall, previously our plan was to establish the interconnectivity between the various previously operating mines. We have now got a better picture and we have a very clear outline of steps that we need to take to progress it forward. So that's the second key point that we're working towards. So we've got quite a lot on, and I think all in all it's going to be a good positive year for us.
Okay, excellent. Well, let's talk then a bit more about EQTEC then, not EQTEC. You said there that that there is producing revenue at the moment. Can you remind us of the setup that you have here with EQTEC, your partner there, and how you really plan to benefit from the revenue model and ultimately get funds out back into Metal NRG?
The initial investment that we made was alongside EQTEC, which were going to be doing the development and recommissioning of the plant, and then the operations and running the plant for going forward. The investment was made by them, two family offices, one out of Italy and one out of Ireland, and ourselves. The way we invested, all of us, in the project was that about 2% of the money that went in, which was roughly 700,000 euros, went in as equity. And the remainder, the balance of the money that we put in, went in as shareholder loans. So the idea now is to refinance the plant, not necessarily in full, but refinance the plant at a very favorable rate because we've got a stable revenue coming out with a well-credit-worthy end client, which is the Italian grid. And we are therefore able to withdraw or repay into Metal NRG some of the shareholder loans which will come out of the refinancing of the plant. So that means that we will be able to take back some of the investment that we put in without decreasing our equity position.
Okay, and then what would you plan to do with these funds once they are returned to Metal NRG?
Well, the plan is to take those funds and additionally look at projects within the EQTEC partnership, but also possibly using some of those funds to progress GoldRidge, which is absolutely key. Okay. The other key elements of this is that when we first made the investment, we were looking at a revenue stream out of electricity, full stop. We now have the possibilities of two additional byproducts. One is heat, and there are two industrial plants close to us that are quite interested in taking off the heat from the plant. So we're looking at possibilities there that might generate some additional revenue for us or for the Italian plant. And we've got a byproduct of biochar. So biochar are coming off as a byproduct. They're currently being looked at by a Swiss certification lab to determine the exact quality, and the quality of the biochar will then dictate the price, which is currently between 500 to 800. The higher the quality, the better, of course, the price that you will get. So there's an additional revenue there that we'll be able to generate. We're finalizing the budgets on those, going through the testing to determine the exact price. And once we have those numbers, we'll have a much better indication of the total revenue that it will produce, and therefore be contributing towards a dividend towards the end of the year into Metal NRG. So there's two elements here. One is the refinancing of the plant itself, and that will generate a lump sum that we can utilize to reinvest in GoldRidge. And then down the line, hopefully with things going the way they should be going, the plants in Italy will be producing sufficient revenues to generate a dividend, which will come into Metal NRG for its proportional investment.
Okay. And do you know the revenue that's happening at the moment, Rolf, or are we having to wait a little bit to see exactly what that's going to be?
I prefer to wait a little bit. We know what the revenues are from the electricity perspective, but I'd like to give a full picture, and we'll probably be able to do that by mid-March, early April.
Okay, excellent. That'll help get a clearer picture there. So the plans then to do with the funds would be to look for further projects in EQTEC, but also to advance GoldRidge. Of course, you did mention there about you've got steps ready to take. So what are those steps, and what are the plans at GoldRidge?
Well, GoldRidge, we did a geosampling program, and the idea and the concept behind the geosampling was really the point that SRK had made in their CPR. And that was that the interconnectivity, the geological interconnectivity between the three previously producing mines, had never been analyzed. And not only had that not been analyzed, within our area, there were a number of specific zones that had not been tested. So we went in and we tested some of these new zones through geochemical, and that found a number of new gold anomalies which previously weren't there. That gave us an encouragement and a further confirmation that the assumption on which SRK had put together their CPR is actually correct. That means that we go through the next step, which is some additional geosampling. There's a few more areas that have never been tested before that we want to go and test and do some geosampling just to confirm that. That will then enable us to define some specific targets, which will allow us to go and drill and put together a drill program later on in the year. Once we've gone through those phases and we've got a full understanding of the total opportunity, then we can start looking at some sort of a definition on resource, and then, as I said previously, working towards getting it getting it into production. Okay. Again, there's steps that we need to go through. We need ticks in the box for all of those, but we have a clear pathway. We'd like to spend about $1.5 million on it, and that will give us a very good picture over the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay. So, of course, a lot of the activities have slowed down because of the ongoing legal issues that have been going on, but it's good to see that the focus is returning to the core project and getting that revenue and, of course, the exploration blue sky at GoldRidge there advanced. Now, you said you want to spend about $1.5 million. Does the company have the money to do this?
Before I answer that, Mark, the slowdown relative, because we did complete the geosampling and a sampling project on GoldRidge. So we did progress it. We haven't been sitting on our hands. I think that's important. And remember, we were going through lockdowns and things like that last year as well. But we did move it forward. Coming to answer your question, if you look at the position Metal NRG is in, We've got money coming in from the EQTEC deal probably by mid-April. We've got a legal amount due to come in, which is still outstanding. And there are other opportunities of funds coming in, which we're looking at. Currently, we're not looking at going to market with cap in hand and raising funds. We are in a position to progress the work we need to progress without going to market. I think also if we thought about going to market now with such a low share price, we'd absolutely be hammered. And the market conditions are pretty tough out there. There's raises that are being done at 50% discount, and they're not even being fulfilled. So can you imagine applying a 50% discount to Metal NRG? I think that would be ludicrous.
Yes, indeed.
My view is that if you look at the assets separately, we're substantially below the value we should be in terms of share price. So in short, we've got revenue coming in, money coming in that we will utilize to progress these plans. Additionally, on GoldRidge, we were also looking to see whether or not there is a suitable earning partner at suitable conditions, and we'll explore that avenue as well.
Okay, excellent.
But the intention is not to go to market and progress as we are with the revenues coming from the pockets that I've mentioned, legal case, EQTEC, and driving forward on GoldRidge.
Okay, well, good. Thank you very much for that summary. I do agree it would be a bit crazy to go to market in the current conditions, and given where Metal NRG is in terms of share price and market cap. So one could argue there's a lot of upside potential to be had once the hurdles are cleared with the legal issues, and the company can really get focusing on, as you say, the revenue there by mid-April, but having an idea of that by mid-March and progressing with exploration and hopefully a drill program at GoldRidge later on this year. So thank you very much, Rolf Geritsen, CEO of Metal NRG, for your time.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.